Okay, I haven't made a video in a really long time, and I haven't really planned this, honestly. I just kind of wanted to talk. I haven't talked in such a long time, and I especially have not talked in a really long time on this channel. And I'm really sorry about the lighting. This is like a massive experiment. I said I haven't filmed in ages. I haven't really wanted to, but yeah. As you can see, I have changed a lot. I have facial hair, and I sound like this now. And my face has changed a lot. I have a jawline these days. Uh, I grew an inch, and all kinds of things really. I live in a different town now. I still haven't had top surgery. Hopefully I will by the end of this year. I had to drop out of Charing Cross for a while because I was homeless for a while, and it took me ages to kind of find my feet, get back into like stable employment and all that kind of stuff. But I've been in my job now for 3.5 years. I work in an all-male sauna. As far as I know, I am the only trans man that works in an all-male sauna in England. I've never found any others, and I really want to be wrong about that because trans men should, especially gay trans men or trans men who have sex with men, should feel able to go into saunas and to work in saunas, and I'll talk about that a bit more later, I guess. But I've been there for 3.5 years now. Yeah, lots of things has changed since I last made any kind of videos. So the biggest thing I want to talk about really today, this evening, is something that I think is not talked about very often in the trans community, and something I want to talk about. And yeah, so at the end of last year, I got diagnosed with HIV, and that was kind of a shock, but it wasn't. And I know there's any number of people watching this who are going to, I know what people think about it. They think I'm an idiot or, well, all kinds of things really, especially given that I work in a sauna and all that kind of stuff. But, I know people will make their judgments about it. And that's fine. I've made my own judgments on myself about it. So, so I get that. But I have HIV, and again, I don't really know of any other trans men who have HIV. I think I've met maybe two, both of whom are online, and I've never met them in person. I know that there are trans men out there with HIV, but there's not that many of us. And I also know, obviously, there are trans women with HIV. Yeah. So I know we're out there. So anyway, I got HIV, or I contracted it sometime between July and December. So sometime in a sort of 4 or 5 month period. And there are times when I think, how did my life end up like this? But then there are other times when I think it's fine. And it is fine, really, because, I mean, I'm not saying, go out and get HIV tomorrow, but, I start, like, the way it's been for me is I found out, ironically, when I went into for the impact trial, which is for PrEP, which, by the way, if you can get on that, go and do it, because it is super important. And if you're interested in getting on PrEP, you don't want to pay for it, there's a good way of doing it. If you do want PrEP, then you can visit websites like I Want PrEP Now, if you live in the UK, and they're really, really helpful. Anyway, I digress. So, I was diagnosed at the start of December, and then I started meds just before Christmas on the 21st of December. And I was undetectable after a month, which was like amazing. And I wasn't expecting that at all. So they basically started me off on they put me on tenofovir and lamivudine, which is basically Truvada, and something else called Resolsta. And I was undetectable after a month, which is amazing and a really huge relief. And although I don't want to be, being positive is annoying in many respects. But if I was going to get it, I'm glad I got it now, and I'm glad I caught it in the city that I'm in. I live in Brighton, and Brighton has, outside of London, I think has probably the best HIV care in the country. The Lawson unit is one of the best, and a lot of research happens down here, and there's so much support for people with HIV down here. So it's just fantastic. And now we live in a day and age where they will put you on meds straight away. Some people choose not to, and that's absolutely fine. However you do your journey, and however you live your life, your life as a positive person is however you want to do it. I opted to go on the meds because a lot of research is showing that the sooner you start it, like the less HIV health related complications you have when you get older. And also I wanted the peace of mind of knowing that I'm not going to surprise anybody, the way I was. So, that was a lot to kind of get my head around. And I kind of panicked about it for about a week. And then I kind of realised, actually, this is okay. And I realised it was okay because I know a lot of people who are positive. And I know they have perfectly normal, happy, healthy lives. It doesn't affect a whole hell of a lot anymore. And, it's not like it was 20 or 30 years ago, even 10 years ago. It's so much better now. But to be trans and positive, I think it can complicate things a little. So, for example, as far as I know, I am the only trans man currently being seen by the Lawson that I know about. I mean, that's not to say that there haven't been in the past and that there won't be in the future, but as far as I know, and from what I've been told, the only one. So that means I have to not handhold, that's the wrong word, but I have to encourage, not encourage, I'm really tired, I've not had a lot of sleep today. And anyway, so I had to handhold, I guess, a little bit, the doctors there about, how to kind of approach things a little bit in terms of language and that kind of stuff. So when I went in for my new patient appointment, for example, one of the doctors there did kind of he ummed and ahed about it, but he basically passed me this booklet called HIV, like that was titled HIV in Women, and I understand why he passed it to me, because obviously I have body parts that are more commonly associated with women. And I just sort of gave him a look, and I was like, dude, really? Has this got a woman written on him? And he said, oh, I'm really sorry. And I said, look, I understand. Just tell me, is there any essential stuff I need to know? And he mentioned about getting smear tests once a year, but that was about it. And I said, well, fine, that's all you need to tell somebody. Don't just hand them that book. Just, if that's a thing relevant to people who have vaginas, then who are positive, that's what you need to tell them. Also, excuse the voice, I have a cold. And so there was little things like that I had to kind of navigate. And there was also things like, the law and stuff, and getting my head around that. Although weirdly, in the UK, my understanding of everything is that you do not have to declare that you are HIV positive as long as you are taking reasonable steps to prevent passing it on. So being undetectable, using condoms, blah 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 blah. You don't have to tell anybody that you've got it, as long as you take reasonable steps. However, if you're trans and you're in the UK, you have to legally declare that you're trans and I believe which body parts you've got to any potential sexual partners. So having to out myself as being positive was kind of not that big of a deal because I already have to do some kind of outing anyway, whether, you know, I'm on Grindr or what have you. So I had to try and do that anyway. And so, I mean, you know, in one sense, it kind of like, it wasn't that much of a pain having to, you know, slap another thing on top of that and go, by the way, I'm trans and also I'm positive. Although the way I tend to put it is in a much more kind of jokey way, because that's how I deal with things. And I just sort of say to people, oh yeah, by the way, I've got a vagina and it's riddled, you know. So, yeah. So, you know, so I tend to poke fun at it a little bit, but getting my head around that was, you know, it's frustrating that I have to declare a thing that's not life threatening. But people want to kill me over, I guess. Or they might want to be violent to me about. But I don't have to declare a thing that is potentially life-threatening as long as I take reasonable steps. So that's kind of like a bit of a pain. And yeah, it means my dating pool shrank massively. Although there is a nice side to this, and I'll talk about that some more in a minute. Yeah, so that took a little bit of getting my head around. But, you know, I've been very lucky in that I have an enormous support network around me. And so I was very open about the fact that, you know, I've become HIV positive. And I had to, and I sort of felt like I had to say something because I talked to people about going on this PrEP trial. And so I didn't want people to be asking me about that, and then suddenly I have to turn around and say, well, actually I didn't get on it because I'm already riddled, you know, it's too late for me. So I told everybody about it, and everyone's been really cool, and I'm really grateful, and I'm really lucky. You know, not everybody is so lucky, and Brighton is kind of, you know, a bit of a bubble in that although there are plenty of people down here that are really funny about it, you know, most people are like, yeah, fine, you know, I don't give a shit. And that's really nice. That's a really good thing. And yeah, you know, it's, I mean, in some ways, being HIV positive is actually more simple than being trans, honestly. And you're probably looking at me funny when I say that, but honestly, like it is, you know, the care and the treatment plan is in a lot of ways much more straightforward. There's less waiting time. The care is yeah, it's amazing down here. I said I'm incredibly lucky to get the care that I do. And being trans is much more annoying in terms of dealing with like medical people, doctors, healthcare, you know, that kind of stuff. And in terms of dating and things like that. But there isn't, you know, nice things have happened to me too. I'm not just sort of making a kind of video on how everything's shit. Like, it's not shit at all. I met a guy actually who lives in London, lovely guy. We started dating, and he's been fantastic and wonderful and supportive, and was just like, yeah, I don't care. You know, he's really clued up on that kind of on trans stuff and HIV stuff. So that was really like amazing because I really did think, you know, this was it. Nobody's gonna come near me now. So to find somebody who, you know, not only is clued up on that stuff, but still embraces me is a wonderful thing. And yeah, I feel very lucky and very grateful to have found somebody like that. The other annoying way that being trans and positive intersects that I found out really recently is medication wise. So in the Resulster there is a booster called Cobicistat. And Cobicistat, it interacts with pretty much everything, and it boosts most things, including testosterone, apparently, which they kind of knew about, but according to the pharmacist, I'm the first case where it's happened like basically like this. So what's happened is I had my hormone bloods done last month, and they came back abnormally high. So we thought, oh, maybe it's, needle contamination or something, because I applied gel. So I changed my application site for a month, went back, got my bloods done again, and it came back abnormally high again. I also found that being on my ARTs, they were making my skin really dry and sensitive, so that was making my gel sites where I was applying it like really red, like sunburnt looking almost. So that was really uncomfortable. So I've had to kind of work around that a bit, and just apply loads of like body lotion and all kinds of things to really help that. But anyway, so the main thing that was happening was that my testosterone levels were just crazy high. Like my serum testosterone was coming back at like 52 or above, and my free testosterone they couldn't calculate because it was too high. So I had to go back today actually, and I had to change my meds. So I'm now taking raltegravir instead. So we'll see how I get on with that. Hopefully that will bring everything down. And I've had to take a really reduced dose of tea, which is making me super tired. I've definitely today I've noticed more than any other day in the last couple of days. I can tell I've got less testosterone running around because I'm so tired. So yeah, really important PSA. If you are trans, and especially if you're a trans man and you're on Resulster, make sure you get your hormone bloods done really regularly, and make sure you keep an eye on that, because apparently they can interact. So yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of, those are the kind of big things going with me. Being on the raltegravir actually is going to be good. Hope if it works, which hopefully it should, because I'm already undetectable. So I mean, all it needs to do is keep me there. But because it interacts with so many less things, it'll be much better for when I go and have surgery done. I'm not going to have any kind of interactions with like anesthesia or anything like that. So yeah, that's kind of the big stuff happening with me right now, and I just thought I would share that, really. I'm fully expecting to get a lot of comments and horrible, nasty comments, so alright. Like, I'm already riddled, so that's how we like about it. Yeah. So I hope everybody is well. I hope everybody is where they need to be, and in a good place and in a happy place. And I have no idea if I'll make any more videos. Maybe, if anybody, I guess, wants me to talk more about being positive and trans. Also, very quickly, if you are positive and trans, if you go on Facebook and if you look up Trans Positive, it is a group I made for people who are trans and live with a lifelong sexually transmitted disease, so HIV or HSV2. I mean HSV1 as well if you find it affects you, but HSV2, chronic hep C as well, stuff like that. So if you live with any of those, check out Trans Positive, come and talk to us, it'd be really cool. And yeah, I'll see you all soon, maybe. Bye.